Hello, I'm Robbie Fowler and you're watching Redmen TV.
Excellent. Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Redmen TV. I'm joined by a man who's crossed enemy lines to join us from from YouTube channel Full Time Devils, Mr. Andrew Ryan. Andrew, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for letting me come in safely. This is great.
This is all right. I noticed how they didn't send an actual mank. Would that have been too difficult?
I think yeah. I've been drafted in as part of a UN peacekeeping exercise to repair relations between Liverpool and Manchester. No, but I know you're probably going to slag me off for being Irish, but you know I've lived in Manchester over 10 years, season ticket holder.
If I slagged you off for being Irish for supporting Man United, we'd probably lose about half of our viewership.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Let's
You've got to have fans across the world, don't you?
Precisely. This is exactly.
But Man City don't think that's right at all.
No, well, same as Everton. You know, it's because we've said this time and time again, and I do feel a little bit weird concurring with you, I'm a Man United fan on these sort of subjects.
Yes.
But you know, if you want to support a club that has fans based solely in your city, Everton, that's what they exist for.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously, as you say, equally Man City as well. Anyway, we've got a game this weekend. So that's what we've got you in to talk about.
Big game.
It is pretty big. I mean, for you, does it? You know, obviously we've not kind of scaled the heights that we would have liked in the last few seasons. But does it remain if not the biggest game, certainly one of the biggest games?
If you said to me, would you like to have 3 points off Liverpool or Manchester City, I'd go for Liverpool all the time. Yeah. I think, in a way, I've been to lots of Man United Liverpool games, but I don't think I've ever seen passion between two. Because in a way, the clubs are quite similar. In obviously, you know, they've both got big history. You know, Liverpool had their success in the 70s and 80s. United came back. Both clubs have been hit by tragedy, but they just, because they're so alike, therefore they hate each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think it's the biggest game in the Premiership calendar for any Man United fan.
Yeah, definitely.
I think definitely it's one you fear losing more than getting more excited about victory. Yeah,
it's one of those games we were describing as the biggest games are inevitably the ones that are the hardest to watch. Yeah, there are not very many enjoyable Liverpool Man United games until after the fact, you know what I mean? If you maybe get that extra goal, you go 2 goals clear with 2 minutes to go, and then you can take a nice big deep sigh of relief and actually enjoy roughly about sort of 90 to 120 seconds of a 90-minute football match.
And what I like about the game is one of those games where form goes out the window. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You know, United could be first or second in the league, Liverpool could be 5th or 6th or whatever. Like you say, you know, you haven't reached the heights, but it doesn't really matter. It's like a cup game. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It really, really doesn't matter. You know, who's got the best players in the pitch, because every single ball will be, you know, 100% challenge. It's not about, it's just completely a different form of atmosphere than playing at home to Stoke or away at Norwich or something like that. Yeah. This is a big, big game. Yeah,
definitely. If you want to know what each of our channels' respective top 3 Liverpool Man United moments are, the videos on there. Yeah. On their YouTube channel. Hello, is on their YouTube channel. So do go and check out today at youtube.com/fulltime devils.
Full-time Devils, yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, do check that out. We picked some slightly more
draws.
Well, yeah, but more I thought more comedically ripe score. But we'll see. I've not seen what they've done. I'm sure they've done really obvious ones. You know what I mean? But we've got actual comedians on their show as well. Like, right, okay. As I say, game coming up on Sunday. What are your feelings about the match? Are you nervous? Is there a certain level of trepidation there, or are you supremely confident given that you're unbeaten so far this season?
Well, we're only 2 games in, so I think for
Moyes, that's pretty good.
I mean, Moyes out is trending on Twitter at the moment. Is that right? Always shocking. But yeah, I mean, any Liverpool Manchester United game, you know, all I would like to see is to go out to see Liverpool this Sunday, because I think Liverpool have improved a lot in the last year or two under Brendan Rodgers, and I would like Moyes to attack the game. You know, I thought he was a little bit cautious against Chelsea. And Chelsea were very defensive against us, which is very hard to break down a team of 10 players behind the ball, you know what I mean? So you got to give him, you know, some credit for that, even though it's quite difficult. But I would like to see him attack Liverpool rather than go, right, we'll take a draw and get out of here.
Well, it's interesting because Ferguson, the way he set up the last few times to Anfield, has very much been
4-5-1.
Well, to stifle it, you know what I mean? He's not played an attacking, free-flowing game at Anfield in a while because, well, obviously he's just decided it's not it's probably not worth it. So the question is, I would be interested to see whether Moyes has the bottle in some respects to go out there, because he's never beaten us at Anfield.
Can you imagine if David Moyes beats Liverpool at Anfield in his 3rd game? What kudos that would give him to us.
Appreciate this is what's been keeping me awake so far this week.
David Moyes, with all that, goes to Anfield, gets 3 points for Manchester United. What would that do for the fans, for him?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Just because this is our show, let's flip that on its head. what happens to the Man United faithful when David Moyes, he's basically he comes away with 4 points from the first 9, draw with Chelsea, and then perhaps a defeat to Liverpool. Yeah. Does that put a little bit of maybe undue pressure on his shoulders? Well,
I look. If you look at our first 5 fixtures, we've had Chelsea at home, we've had Swansea away, we'll have Liverpool away, we've Crystal Palace at home, and we've got Man City then as well. Yeah. I think that's away as well. I'm not sure. That's a pretty tough start. First 5 games. Any team, whether Chelsea or Arsenal or Liverpool, will play those tough starts. So
this is what happens when Fergie doesn't get to pick the fixtures.
No, there we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, but Sir Alex Ferguson said that at the end of last season, his final speech. He said, during the tough times, you know what I mean. But 4 points from 9, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like there's. I'm sure Liverpool have had worse start some seasons. You know what I mean?
Last season,
exactly. Example, you've had 2 from 2, you've 6 from 6 now. So this is your best start since 100 years. I'm only joking, but you know what I mean. But it's I wouldn't question David Moyes. David Moyes needs to be given a couple of years at Manchester United, exactly like Brendan Rodgers needs to be given a couple of years. And what I really admire about Aston Villa is that their manager, Lambert. Lambert has been given.
Do that every time.
Yeah, Lambert has been given time at Villa to bring young players through. So, there's a transition. No matter what David Moyes do, if he loses against Liverpool, if he wins or whatever, he'll be compared to Sir Alex Ferguson. He's just got to we just got to trust in him. We just got to trust in him that he would get it right. Whether he gets it right on Sunday, well, he might get it wrong. But if he gets it right, what a win that will be for the confidence of the players and the fans in him. Yeah. But if he gets it wrong, they will be saying, but Fergie got it wrong many times.
Yeah. So this is what you've got going for it in his favour to a certain extent, is that Ferguson was shit at the start of his Man United career, basically. People forget that, but you can see that being dragged up a lot potentially if Moyes doesn't, if first season doesn't go to plan.
But also, David Moyes has walked into a world-class outfit here. Yeah. Sir Alex Ferguson walked into players that were sitting in the pub all the time. Just as match day shoot. Exactly, yeah. But David Moyes, when Sir Alex took over Man United, a lot of their players were sitting in the pub all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's walked into. I know Fergie's always spoke about managers needing time. There was some managers there. I often feel sorry for the team that gets promoted from the Championship, because if they're not top 12 or top 14, they're going to get sacked. Southampton manager last year. Yeah. I know the other fella came in, Coutinho, and did very well, but he was a victim of his own success. You know what I mean? You've got to be given the time. So whatever happens, I'm nervous about it, but it would be a big statement. If David Moyes could actually, I was going to call him Sir David Moyes, but if which will happen in a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? Give it 2 years. You know what I mean? Yeah, a couple of Champions Leagues.
We didn't have it for his heroics at Everton. I don't know what else he's going to get.
Oh, that win away in Norwich. Oh,
that season when he finished 4th.
Oh, and then we avoided relegation. Oh, Moyes, he's a man for us.
We're secretly hoping, because we don't spend all the time thinking about Man United seriously, but we do, because it's Moyes. There is that added value of we doubly want to see him basically go completely.
Oh, well, I can understand, obviously, him being ex-Everton manager and, on Merseyside.
But I love the fanfare that Everton gave him. Thanks very much. Hey, he run down your contract and went to one of historically our biggest rivals for nothing. Hey, thanks very much, Moisey.
Yeah.
Fucking losers,
But it was always going to happen.
Oh, yeah. But it was always I'm hoping, I'm praying, waiting for that day where Fergie has to descend from on high to assure everybody that Moyes is the right man for the job.
Do you know what? I had this dream actually where there's going to be an interview on Football Focus when United are 5th. You know what I mean? And it's like November, and Sir Alex Ferguson is back from his 10th golfing holiday, and he's sitting there talking about time and longevity and what I had to do when I arrived at the club. Yeah. If that interview happens, there's something wrong. If Sir Alex hasn't been, I don't think he's been off sight now for a while. I think he's had his hip operation. He might not pop back up till Christmas, you know. But personally, at the start of the season, I don't think I kind of tipped Chelsea to win the league. Yeah. But you know, Mourinho came not to lose on Monday night, and they came playing without a recognised striker. And I thought, you know what, you want to win the league, and you're, you know, I just kind of.
Fernando Torres must have a major like chip on his shoulder, because that's now two completely different sides that have chosen to not play a striker rather than play him. Yeah. Spain went through a major international tournament without a recognised striker on the pitch rather than play Fernando Torres.
That's like us playing 5-a-side, and then one of us goes on the bench and it's 5v4. You know what I mean? It's fine. We'd rather play with 4 against 5. You said the mate's going, yeah, it's tactics now, isn't it? It's tactics.
I can do a job. No, you can't. Fucking get off, shit down. So obviously we're talking about whether Moyes would go a bit gung-ho. I mean, for you, do you think he will do that? Do you think, how do you reckon United will line up, formation-wise or personnel-wise?
Well, I think it'll be one of those where it'll be tight, very tight at the start, and Liverpool will come at us again. You know, they're at home, the crowd's going to be behind them. You know, there could be like a 4-5-1. I think Van Persie will be on his own. I think Rooney will probably play again on top of the midfield. I would like to see Kagawa play. You know, I think at 60 minutes, if it's 0-0, I think, you know, if Moyes has that confidence and he can bring on, you know, he can make a few changes, try and create a little bit more. If he says, right, you know what, I'm gonna try and go here rather than sit here and take the point. Yeah. I think he'll send out a clear message that he's not afraid to make big decisions away from home. You know, so it's a tricky one, you know, but it's one of those, you know, losing is harder to have than winning. You know what I mean? Because winning is like, oh, thank God we won. We're losing, you're just not going to remember. It's not going to forget about it for a while. Yeah. So it's very tricky. I think it's very, very tricky. I think he played a little bit safe against Chelsea. First home game. I think we attacked well, but I would have liked to see Kagawa play. Like Zaha did very well in pre-season, wasn't even on the bench. So, and he's very creative going up and down the wings, and it's very, very tricky. But I think he could send out a very good sign to United fans that he's willing to go to win games the way that Manchester United do. Go for it, don't be afraid, don't go there and sit there for the draw. Yeah. You know, and Liverpool will obviously want to get one over on him, so it's going to be very, very interesting. Very
interesting indeed. But I mean, just on the Moyes thing, were you disappointed? Honestly, honest answer. When you heard that Moyes was going to be your next manager.
I called David Moyes 12 months ago on BBC Radio Manchester.
Really?
Yeah, I did a BBC Radio Red Wednesday. And I said, he's the only player. You know, I call him, like, Davey, yeah, you just come out of Sir Alex Ferguson's bedroom there, mate. Right? I mean, no, but like, you know, I did say, and the reason for that is because Jose Mourinho came to Manchester United. He's one of those guys. He's just a journeyman footballer. He's a journeyman manager. He'll come, he'll do 2 or 3 years, and then he'll go, oh, I've not won a league in Germany. Oh, I've not won a league in France. Yeah. I've not won a league in whatever. And he'll want to go. And everything is about him. Yeah. It's all about him. And I think the club is always about, you know, nobody's bigger than the club. And I think with Mourinho, he would come and he kind of picks fights and stuff like that. And I think he has his favourites. Yeah. You know, I think he's had his favourites with Lampard at Chelsea and John Terry and stuff like that. So, and I think Sir Alex would have went, well, we can't risk this over a couple of years, you know. We have to look at what's right for the club and what's right is long term. And I think with David Moyes, he saw that in Everton, 10 years there. Consistent, you know, mid-table, very little money to play with. You know, he's not afraid to tell you to F off. You know, he doesn't, you know, wine and dine these big players. He's old school, Scottish.
That's what.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's been seen at Mackey's drive-through a few times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I just think they looked at it. There's a kind of guy. I think any manager, and I think Brendan Rodgers has this in him as well. If you can get an average player to play above themselves, and I think Brendan Rodgers has that. And I think David Moyes has that as well. But David Moyes now is the first time he's going to have a bit of money. You know,
does he have the ability to make it a world-class player?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Never had one in his life.
Well,
no, I know. He's had a few boards.
Yeah, Kevin Kilban, isn't he?
Zinedine Skilban.
Kevin Kilban, you know what I mean? What a legend.
Yeah, but that is the big question mark. Because look at him now. You know, I thought he might be tempted to do an open top bus tour for the Community Shield. You know what I mean? Just to be him at the front of the bus, going fucking mental, holding it up like yeah, and all the rest of the players just.
Yeah.